downstairs. I'm working here in the shop at Forge Memory. And I'm working on a project. Now, I'm probably going to have to clean this tang up just a little bit. But this is a 1095 high carbon steel spinner blade that I've been working on. It's forged, it's heat treated, and it's cleaned up and finished. But I had a section of axe handle, and I thought, man, I would like to do one of the older style knives like I used to see at Rendezvous with an axe handled knife. Now I'm going to I want to clean up that doe's foot or that fawn's foot right there. But I think it would be pretty cool. I want to do a poured pewter bolster. So part of this process, I've already drilled just kind of a pilot hole here. Well, how do we make this tang fit? Well, pretty simple. You can heat that up and you can push and eventually, like, be very frustrated. What I like to do is I've got a special technique. First of all, I want you guys, if you would, please go ahead, like and subscribe. I can use all the friends and exposure I can get here. And here's what I'm going to do. I've got a section of rebar that I've already forged flat. I'm going to take that and I'm going to start my burn in. And if you don't like wood smoke, this is not the place to be. Okay, so I got maybe half an inch, 5/8 in so far. A lot of people are opposed to burn-in tanks because they say, you know, one, you can ruin the temper on your blade. You can, but in this case, we're not heating the blade. We're not even heating the tank. We're heating a blank that we're burning in. And instead of trying to burn in the entire way, I've got a pilot hole. So I've only that allows me to guide that. That guides that piece of steel just a little bit better, a little easier. Example for some of the smaller tanks. Here's a section of rebar, and I just forged this out on the power hammer real quick. That has a narrow tang for narrower tang blades. So that would be a little narrow for this, but keep in mind that you're going to be burning away material. Absolutely. So what I like to do is I like to make a couple different varieties so that I do have that option for when I'm going through making a lot of blades. And I'm hoping to get this one done soon. Okay. So here we go. You stop making progress on the burn, that's when you want to go ahead and go back into the forge. It's a pretty simple process. Let me change the angle of the camera here and see if we can just view that just a little bit better. Once more, if you guys would, please subscribe. Once your forge is up to temperature, it doesn't take too long to come back up to temp with your piece of steel. course, always be caution when using, playing with fire, I guess. But my plan is, if I can get this burnt down into that cavity, I'm going to trim the tang slightly on that knife. I'm going to soften the tang. When I set that in, I'm going to go ahead and drill it and pin it, and then I'll wrap it with some aluminum tape, and I'll pour some pewter to get a bolster. So that's my plan so far. Now we're going to see how that works. One thing that can happen, and it's very common, if you overheat this grain likes to separate, which means you get some really not awesome cracks in it. I've got another section of that axe handle right here, just some antique axe handle that fits the hand pretty decent. And I was like, that would be cool for like a frontier butcher knife or a belt knife. So at some point I'll reshape this a little bit, probably constrict it down up here, and do a burn in for another knife. So here we go. As I said, if you're not into wood smoke, this is not something you're going to be wanting to do. Other arguments people have about doing burn-ins is, okay, well, your epoxy's touching the charred wood and not the wood itself. In this case, I'm not going to be using any epoxy. It's going to be poured pewter. And one thing I do have to worry about, something I do have to be cautious about, and this is likely to get shorter, so this is just a little longer than what it needs to be. Because you can see here on the opening how that's charring, and that's going to probably result in loss of some material. So this is something you want to plan for. Or am I getting in there? Not quite far enough, because we want to make sure that we get enough, even if it's a 3/4 tang, it should be fine. We want to make sure that it has enough material to be supportive of being a handle. That is a big factor. Now, my tang is quite robust. Now, not so much in thickness, but in width here. Now, I do want a stout tang, and so far, it's fitting up pretty good. Like I said, even though that the tool that, I don't know what, we need to come up with a name for that, my burn-in tool, even though it's narrower than my tang, because of the heat that's radiating from it, it's removing material inside that handle. And that is one reason you should always check your vise. All right. And I can apply a little pressure here. I don't know if it's going to do much. A little too cool to do a whole lot right there. I want to see what I can do. And how much of this do I want protruding? Well, I've got a good, about palm's width of tang here, and I don't need that much, to be completely honest. I don't need that much that much tang on there. So I can shorten this up a little bit or narrow it down a little bit. Now keep in mind, you start taking away from your tang, or you start narrowing this junction right here, you're looking at potentially having some structural issues on that particular piece. So keep in mind that each piece is going to be a little different. It's going to have its own quirks on it. as that's going to go. Well, boys and girls, it is time to try something a little different, and that is we're going to go drill this out just a little bit more. Why? Because I want more tang to fit down in here. So in essence, did that work? It sure did. Did it do exactly what I wanted it to? Not quite. But we're going back here into my kitchen work area. If you ever wonder why things taste like sawdust if you're here. And we'll look at, yeah, that's okay. All right. I'm going back out. So that may have actually just kind of got packed with sawdust. I don't know. Our axe handle is going to be a knife handle. Yep, definitely had some sawdust back in it. All right. There we go. You notice I extinguish that pretty quickly just so that I don't end up with a complete mess. I don't want to burn too much material away. We're getting there. Handle's a little long, but like I said, I'm probably going to lose part of this in the process of making the slot or the channel in the handle itself. Okay. And my hand slipped again. See if that helps. And it's not a bad idea to go ahead and keep checking this. So far, we're looking good. Now, I don't want to seat this all the way because I want to pour a pewter bolster. And that will probably be in another video. But we're almost there. Once more, if you guys haven't subscribed to this channel, please hit that subscribe button. I like to create a lot of educational content here. I think that is just about bottomed out. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to trim this just a little bit. How am I going to do that? With my handy dandy angle grinder. Didn't take a lot off of it, but took enough off of it that this is going to work. Now notice, I still have area where I'm going to have a bolster. And if at all possible, I'm not going to refinish this handle because I just kind of like that, old look to it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to heat the tang up so that I can drill it easier. How am I going to do that? Right here. And I'm just going to watch for the colors to turn. This isn't how I would recommend doing tempering by any means, but you can see the colors starting to run there. You can actually see here we've got some red and we're going on up to that straw color, and so this should be pretty soft. I'm going to let it cool. I may check it real quick. Right there, I'm going to let it cool. And notice how I did protect the blade the entire time, kept it away from the heat. So what I'll do before I sharpen that or anything, I'm going to go ahead and drill the handle through the tank so I can put an 1/8 inch brass pin there. And then I'll go ahead, probably run it through Scotch-Brite a little bit, maybe work on those bevels some, and then I'm going to do poured pewter. Guys, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll catch you in a few, and I hope you have a great weekend. You can check me out on Forged in Fire Season 4, Episode 2, Deerhorn Knives. You can check me out on Master of Arms Season 1, Episode 1, the Flintlock Axe Pistol. And you can also check out Josh Nicolaitis, who was a second from the shop to go on Season 6, Episode 3 of Forged in Fire, or Cheyenne Brown, who was on Season 9, Episode 5 of Forged in Fire, Blades Gone Wild. Guys, have a great one, and we'll catch you in a few.